My name is Carla Beekler, and I'm a parent and SCC member at WCMS. I wanted to share some of the feedback we received from parents about the literacy goals at WCMS. The school has held 3 reading parties this year and 1 more coming in June. Feedback has been overwhelmingly positive, with the only drawback being the difficulty for some parents in attending an activity held during working hours. Parents who are able to attend enjoy the chance to be in the classroom, the opportunity to see classmates and teachers, and the message it sends that reading is important.
I think of myself as a very confident reader and sort of a reader who can read many different books from all levels, from books that are like 100 pages to maybe 700 pages. I think I could probably read a lot of books in a month, so a very confident and strong reader.
I am an outgoing reader. I like reading different types of books. I think I'm a pretty good reader because I can read fast, I can read slow, I can read in the middle of fast and slow, and I can read any type of book, advanced or just beginner.
Well, I am a good reader. I find myself that when I get stuck on a word, then I go back and reread the sentence. Or sometimes when I read a chapter book and I don't read it for a long time, then I go back and read the chapter so I know what's going on.
Well, I think I'm a pretty good reader, but I'm not very strong at reading out loud. I'm better at reading in my head so that I can just think about it while I read more. I don't have to think about what words I'm saying. I can just think of the words that I'm reading. Sort of like that.
Well, I think that I used to read really slowly just because I would see some of the girls in the class and they would take out 5 books at a time, and I'm just like, that's a lot of books to read. But now I could read just as much. Well, when I'm reading, I kind of try to, every chapter I'll stop and I'll think about what's happened and kind of try to imagine it like it's like I'm watching a movie. And sometimes when I'm really into it, I'll go 3 chapters and I'll be like, hey, this, and this happened. And then I'll think about it and try to imagine what's happening as I'm reading. And I like a lot of action, so I can just imagine, say somebody's breaking through the glass. I can just imagine glass shattering everywhere as I read that.
I think I I really improved from last time. I remember when I was in grade 2, I was not really fluent at all. I was always stopping yeah. So I think I've really improved over the years. So.
Right, so I think the biggest thing that I've learned this year is to learn how to change. I think that I've given my students a lot more, choice and opportunity to succeed in the classroom by allowing them to, demonstrate their knowledge in different ways that they're feeling comfortable with. I've also taken more time to talk to my kids and learn from them and take, let them have more of a leadership opportunity.
One way I continue to grow as a literacy instructor is I incorporate the Reader's Workshop philosophy in as many subjects as possible, especially in English language arts. One thing that I've found and what I've learned is the more choice you give kids about what they are going to read and write, the more engaged they will be and the more they will love to read and write. Another thing I learned that if kids have a choice in that classroom library, if they are allowed to have a say in the books that we choose, that library becomes more theirs and they want to read those books.
The SCC has contributed money to classroom libraries and rotating book bins, and it is obvious that these books are being enjoyed by students. One parent commented that the benefit of the classroom libraries is that it seems to have relevant books that are easy for kids to find. Parents also see reading promoted through book fairs, book orders, regular classroom dear time, and class library visits.
So my individual goal this year was to create a classroom culture and a reading environment for my students, which I think I have achieved that with my students because they love their new space. And there was some strategic shopping and buying of books that is student choice. And just to have, we built in a plan where we have some surf time during the day, and that's for a time for students to share and reflect about their reading. And I think just having that culture and that environment helps motivate students, even for those that are reluctant readers as well. And so they really enjoy and they look forward to that time.
They have put a lot of books into our classroom, so we have lots of options, and like they give us like time and they help us in the library also to find a right book for us, and they make our classroom very relaxing and nice space for us to read in, so we can enjoy reading more.
Well, last year I noticed that a lot of kids were kind of just empty reading, and they weren't getting a lot of meaning out of what they read. So what I decided this year was to set up a more structure conferring binder. And so I put tabs into each section of my binder for each kid. And I've made it my priority to talk to them at least 3 times throughout the year as part of our school goal. But I've had longer interviews with the kids this year, and we've really been able to set good literacy targets. I've seen a lot of growth through the kids in touching base with them, as well as to touch base with them on the rest of the school year, how things are going. And through that, I've seen a positive relationship come out of that with the students, and that we've really built up that trust, a lot of growth, especially in literacy. A lot of them are starting to use the language that we've been talking about, things like connecting or inferring or synthesizing, and now they're really starting to get to the point where they apply that to their learning. So it's been awesome to see.
I really like conferring with Miss Boyle, and like she'd always just like read a chapter, like not like a chapter, like a page from your book, and I really like doing that. And then it's like really cool to see how much you've improved since the last conferring. We only confer like once a month or so, and then we always like set little goals, and it's like really also cool to see like if you've like achieved your goal or not, or like how you've changed as a reader. And then like I'm one of those people, whenever I'm reading one book, I'll always like start talking about like these other books I'm reading at home, and then when I start talking about that, I really feel the connections I'm making with other books, because I never really feel like I'm making that many connections, but when you actually like talk it out loud, you really feel like you're making all those connections.
Like, I liked it how you guys set up, like, how you're reading with your family, like, how your mother or father could come and then you can pick a book out. That's when me and my dad picked a book out. I forget what it was called, but then I started reading it, and then I really, really liked that book. Like, I was into it every day, and I was trying to just savor all the pages, and it was like, I don't want to read all of it because then I'll have nothing to read. And then after that, I realized that there is really good books out there, so I need to try and start looking, and that's what was happening, and then found some books, and yeah.
Many parents shared with us that their children were already readers, often following the lead of moms, dads, or siblings who love to read. It was great to hear about families who now read together, children who now read more fluently, and kids who have fallen in love with a series or book that they found at school.
Matters because it's how you like connect to other characters. It kind of like gets you like in another world, and you can always use those scenarios in real life, or you can connect in real life to your reading, and it like builds like a lot of like empathy skills, I think, too, because when you start to relate to another character of how they feel, you can also start relating to more people in real life. And reading is just a really good hobby to take up, because it's not like you're just always like on your phone or something more peaceful to do, because I feel like everyone's just on their phones now, and it's like sometimes you just need something more like peaceful to do that's more like stimulating.
More and more every single time you pick up a book or you pick up like your phone to read an article, and I think you're always learning how to read, like from the age of like 2 to like the age of like however old you get. Like you're always reading, you're always learning how to read. So
Well, whereas if you're watching TV, your brain doesn't get any exercise, and reading is like exercise for your brain. So when you watch TV, your brain's doing nothing. And when you're reading, your brain is thinking about the book and what's going on.
It's a lot more probably because like I text all the time my friends and you have to read more. We text more than we do like phone each other, so we're texting and communicating more. And also when you're texting, you have to learn how to emotionally text and that. So it gets harder to read as well because you're trying to figure out the emotion of what they're trying to put behind it. And reading articles online, and I think you're actually exposed to more reading than you were like 10 years ago.
Reading can give you a lot more like knowledge and learning how to spell words.
Because it like teaches you things. It teaches you about life. It's like teaches you things that you don't know, like history. Like when we did our Explorers unit, we read pages about the explorers. Now I still have some of that facts in my head. It kind of just teaches you about life.
We look forward to more celebrations of reading and learning at WCMS.